Imagine this. You are standing on the edge of the single most important moment of your entire life. Everything you've worked for, everything you believe in, it all comes down to this. But to move forward, you have to do the one thing you can't imagine doing: destroy the very people you love. So what do? This isn't just some thought experiment. It's the crisis at the heart of one of the world's most incredible spiritual texts. And the answer it gives? Well, it changes everything.
Now, those aren't the words of a coward. That's the cry of Arjuna, the greatest warrior of his generation, right at the moment he's supposed to lead his army to a glorious victory. He's completely paralyzed by despair, and his words kick off one of the most powerful conversations in all of human history. The setting here is just epic. You've got two sides of a royal family, the noble Pandavas and their cousins, the scheming Kauravas, lined up for a war that's going to change the world. The kingdom is on the line, yeah, but as we're about to see, what's really being fought over is the meaning of duty, action, and life itself.
So before we can even get to the wisdom, we have to really understand the pain. Arjuna's crisis, it's not some abstract philosophical problem. It's deeply personal, and it's a feeling we can all recognize, That moment you're faced with a choice that has no right answer. So Arjuna asks his charioteer, who happens to be the divine Lord Krishna in disguise, to drive him right out into the middle of the battlefield, into that no man's land between the two armies. And what he sees there it breaks him. He's not looking at some faceless enemy. He's seeing the faces of his grandfathers, his teachers, his own cousins and friends. And this is where we get to the absolute heart of the problem. On one hand, you have his duty, his dharma. It's his sacred role as a warrior to fight for what's right. But on the other hand, you have his bhava, his raw, human feeling of love and compassion. How can you possibly do the right thing if it means committing what feels like the ultimate wrong? That's the question the Gita is here to answer. And so, he just gives up. Not to the enemy on the other side, but to his own overwhelming grief. He drops his legendary bow and he says, "I will not fight." The hero is broken, and the stage is now set for a divine intervention. Now, Krishna's response isn't your typical pep talk. It's not, "Hey, you got this." No, it's a complete teardown and rebuilding of reality itself, and it all starts with one radical shift in perspective. What a thing to say to a man in agony, right? Krishna doesn't comfort him, not at first. He challenges the very foundation of Arjuna's sorrow. He's essentially asking, Arjuna, what are you really grieving for here? So to answer that question, Krishna introduces this incredible concept, the Atman, or the soul. He explains that who we really are isn't this physical body that we walk around in. The true self, the soul, is timeless. It was never born. It can never, ever die. It's literally indestructible. And this one idea, this single distinction, starts to unravel Arjuna's entire impossible problem. The fight, Krishna is saying, isn't about destroying these eternal beings. It's just about their temporary homes, the bodies they live in for a while. The essence of who these people are, it can't be touched by a single weapon. Krishna uses this beautiful, simple analogy that just makes so much sense. He compares the body to a set of clothes. When your clothes get old and worn out, what do? You take them off and put on a new set. The person inside the clothes, the soul, remains completely unchanged. Death isn't some final end. It's just a change of outfit. Okay, so understanding the immortal soul, that's step one. It's a huge step. But how does that knowledge actually change what Arjuna is supposed to do right here, right now, on this battlefield? See, Krishna doesn't tell Arjuna to pack up and go home. Nope. Instead, he offers a totally new way to do his duty, and it's called karma yoga. This isn't about avoiding the hard things in life. It's about transforming how we approach them. It's basically a guide to performing at your best without the crippling anxiety of the outcome. So here's the formula, and it's pretty radical. Step one, do what you're supposed to do. Your duty. For Arjuna, that means fight. But here's the twist. Step two, you have to do it without being attached to the action itself. And step three, the most important part, you have to completely let go of the results. Victory, defeat, praise, blame, none of it is your concern. This is the absolute core of karma yoga. Your right is to put in the work, but you have no right to the outcome. Think about how freeing that is.
It disconnects you from all the anxiety, the fear, the stress that's tied to what might happen, and it lets you act with total clarity and focus in the now.
So we've got a new way to understand reality and a new way to act. But Krishna's not done. He takes it one level deeper, offering a whole new way to perceive the world around you. So if karma yoga is about what you do, bhakti yoga is about the mindset you're in while you do it. This is the path of love, of devotion. It's about seeing the divine in everything so that every single action, whether you're fighting a war, eating a meal, or doing your day job, becomes a kind of sacred offering.
This list basically paints a picture of someone with unshakable inner peace. I mean, just think about it for a second. Someone who is the same toward an enemy and a friend, who is indifferent to pain and pleasure. That person has truly mastered their inner world. They found a kind of stability that has nothing to do with what's happening on the outside. All right, this is all incredibly profound philosophy from an ancient text. But let's be real. How does any of this apply to us, right now, in the 21st century?
And that's really the million-dollar question, isn't it? We might not be warriors on a literal battlefield, but we all face our own battles, our own kurukshetras. They happen in our careers, in our relationships, and sometimes the biggest ones happen right inside our own minds when we face those impossible choices. The Gita's wisdom is timeless because, well, our problems are timeless. It gives us a concrete framework to deal with anxiety by shifting our focus from outcomes to actions. It empowers us to find courage when we feel lost, and it gives us a real practical path to finding that inner balance and peace that, let's face it, so many of us are desperately searching for. When you really get down to it, what the Gita teaches is that conflict isn't something we should always run from. Instead, every challenge, every tough decision is actually an opportunity. It's a chance to act with purpose, to grow wiser, and to connect with something much deeper than our day-to-day problems.
And after 18 chapters of the most profound teaching you can imagine, Krishna leaves Arjuna and us with this final, powerful promise. It's a message of total liberation, of absolute courage. It's a reminder that when you're facing the impossible, the path forward starts with trust, with action, and with the simple, powerful wisdom to just not be afraid.